Before this congressional exchange begins, it's important to understand the stakes behind the discussion. Lawmakers are examining a dramatic surge in Medicaid spending tied to a program designed to support autism patients, a rise that some critics say could signal potential fraud or oversight failures. At the same time, the debate touches on another sensitive issue: whether efforts to investigate fraud were discouraged over fears of political or cultural backlash. In moments like this, congressional hearings often become more than just fact-finding sessions. They become a test of accountability, transparency, and leadership.
Chair recognizes Mr. Gill from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for taking the time to be here. Governor Walz, are you familiar with the Early Intensive Developmental and Behavioral Intervention benefit?
I am, Congressman.
Got it. It provides services for autism patients. Is that right?
That is correct.
Got it. And when did you become governor?
In January of 2019.
In 2019. Okay. So using 2018 as a baseline, do you know what that program paid in Medicaid claims?
I do not, Congressman.
It's about $671,000. Do you know what that program paid in Medicaid claims in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me.
$342 million. That's about a 500x increase over 6 years. Was there 500 times the number of autism patients in that time period?
I couldn't speak specifically to it, but I will say, Congressman, that
doesn't sound reasonable, right? You don't think there was a 500x increase in the number of autism patients in 6 years, right?
Correct, and that's why we ordered on-site visits starting back in 2024.
So we agree that doesn't sound reasonable. Would you also agree that a single taxpayer dollar wasted on fraud is a dollar too much to tolerate?
Yes.
Yep, and would you agree that as governor, ultimately you're responsible if tax dollars are defrauded?
Yes, I would agree.
Yep. Would you also agree that calling somebody racist is a serious accusation?
If they are racist, I think it's probably
accurate. I'm asking you, is that a serious accusation to make about somebody?
I think it's just an observation of reality.
All right, well, let's go there. Is it racist for a government official to identify fraud?
No.
No. Is it Islamophobic?
To identify fraud?
To identify fraud?
No, I don't believe it would be.
How come multiple whistleblowers have said that your administration told them not to say anything about widespread fraud across multiple agencies because doing so would be considered racist or Islamophobic?
I can't speak to it because it's not anything I would say.
Well, that's what your administration has said and has told whistleblowers, and as you just testified, the buck stops with you.
A dramatic increase like the one mentioned here immediately raises questions for policymakers and auditors alike. Large spending jumps in public programs can occur for legitimate reasons, such as expanded eligibility, better diagnosis rates, or increased access to services. But they can also trigger concerns about fraud, billing irregularities, or oversight gaps. What makes this exchange particularly tense is that the conversation quickly shifts from financial accountability to allegations about how whistleblowers were treated. If staff members felt discouraged from reporting potential misconduct, that could represent a serious breakdown in institutional safeguards. The key question for viewers is this: when officials raise concerns about fraud, should those warnings always be investigated first, regardless of political or social sensitivities?
You stated in your statement whenever you announced you weren't running again. Are you familiar with Faye Bernstein?
Yes, I'm familiar with the name.
She's a Democrat, isn't she?
I wouldn't know that.
She stated publicly that she's a Democrat. She's only voted Democrat in her life. She's also stated publicly that she was retaliated against and called racist, and that her work responsibilities were diminished whenever she was highlighting fraud within your administration. Are you familiar with that?
I couldn't speak to specific allegations.
Why do you think she would say that?
I can't speak for what
you have no idea?
I do not.
You would agree that the tone in your administration comes from you ultimately, right?
The tone is that.
The tone of how you might deal with whistleblowers.
Right, and we protect them.
Wait, it doesn't sound like you're protecting them. We heard from Representative Kristen Robbins, quote, "We have dozens of credible whistleblower reports saying the exact same thing, that people were told not to say anything because they'd be called racist or Islamophobic or it would hurt the state." Do you think it's racist or Islamophobic to highlight and try to stop fraud?
It is not, and I certainly wouldn't
It's
know.
not, but that was the message your administration was sending to multiple whistleblowers.
I can't speak to that.
You can't speak to that. No, you don't want to speak to that, I think.
I have over 40,000
be
employees,
retaliated
Congressman.
against?
Pardon me?
Do you think whistleblowers should be retaliated against?
Absolutely not. They have strong protections in Minnesota and lots of paths. And the paths go for the
That's not
OLA.
what we're hearing from whistleblowers. Faye Bernstein, who, again, has stated that she is a Democrat, she's only ever voted Democrat, says
That
that she
doesn't
was
matter whether
subjected
she's
to, quote,
Democrat or
a smear
Republican.
campaign for trying to make leadership aware of illegal contracting practices. Why do you think that happened?
I can't speak to that, Congressman, because we don't do it.
You just don't know anything?
I do know that we have strong whistleblower protections, and I can't speak.
That's not what the whistleblowers are saying. According to another report, quote, there's just a continuous effort to stifle you, to shut you up, and it's impossible to overcome. Your administration's response to whistleblowers has also been described as, quote, nearly unbearable retaliation. We've heard claims that, quote, they've been denied vacations, promotions, and that it's hurt people's careers to speak out against fraud. Do you think that had something to do with the prevalence of fraud in your administration?
I can't speak to it, but it
Are you
doesn't
going to take
happen.
responsibility for this?
I supervise 40,000 employees. State agencies
You
have their own
supervise
HR.
a lot of employees, and as you have said, the buck stops with you. And your administration has treated whistleblowers like absolute dirt, and that's a big reason why we've seen so much of our hard-earned tax dollars defrauded.
Look, Congressman, I told you we have strong protections. We have an Office of
This committee has
Legislative
spoken
Auditor.
to nearly 30 whistleblowers,
And they
most
came
of which
to
are
the-
current employees in your administration who have intimate knowledge of what's been going on, who have all stated that they've faced retaliation for calling out fraud.
I can't speak to them what they felt. in
And
that.
time is up. I yield back.
Congressional
recognizes
hearings
Mr.
like
Gill
this
from
one
Texas.
highlight how complex
Thank you,
public
Mr.
oversight
Chairman, and
can
thank
be.
you to
On
the
one
witnesses
side,
for
lawmakers
taking
are
the time to
tasked
be
with
here.
protecting taxpayer
Governor
funds
Walter,
and
are you
investigating
familiar with the
potential
early
fraud.
intensive
On the
developmental
other,
and behavioral
government leaders must
intervention
ensure
benefit?
fair processes, protect
I
whistleblowers,
am, Congressman.
and maintain
Got it.
trust
It's,
within their
provide
institutions.
services
What
for
remains
autism
unclear
patients,
from
is that right?
exchanges like this
That is correct.
whether the allegations
And
raised
when
will
were
lead
you-
to
when did
further
you become
investigation or reforms. For
in
viewers,
January of
the broader
2019.
takeaway may be
2019.
about
Okay, so
transparency
using
and
2018 as a
accountability in
baseline, do you know
public
what that
programs
program
affect millions
paid
of Americans.
in
What's your
Medicaid
interpretation of this exchange?
I do not, Congressman.
Was it a
About
necessary oversight challenge
$671,000. Do
or
you know
a
what that
political
program paid in
confrontation?
Medicaid claims in
Share your thoughts in the
2024?
comments.
I don't
and
have
if you
the number in
value
front of me.
clear, fact-based breakdowns like this,
$342 million.
be sure to like
That's
the
about a
video,
500x
share it with others,
increase over
and subscribe for
6
more in-depth
years.
analysis
Was there
of the stories
500
shaping
times the
public
number
policy.